Welcome to Positive Outcomes, where leaders turn hard-won experience into income, impact, and freedom.
Hi, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Positive Outcomes. This is where leaders, entrepreneurs, business owners, name it, they come here and we use our expertise to generate income, impact, and of course, freedom. And I am your host, Dr. Doreen. So today is not about me. So let's talk about our guests, okay? Today's guest is Kay. Kay is a dynamic yoga, aerial, and fitness instructor, as well as remember, she's doing two things, right? As well as a consultant who weaves the principles of yoga into both her personal and her professional world. She is known for her resilience, her love of challenge, and her ability to inspire others to find growth, healing, and balance in every season of life. And I know for sure, we need some kind of balance in some seasons in our life. So that's why Kay comes in really, really handy. And we are loving it. And we want to hear everything that she's going to tell us tonight at this Positive Outcomes podcast. Kay, you are welcome to Positive Outcomes.
Thank you for this beautiful introduction. Excited to be here and thank you for having me.
So we're excited to have you and we are looking forward to how you're going to bring some balance.
Of course, that's something that we work with on a daily basis. There's never a 1 + 1 = 2, but there's always ways to work towards that balance.
Wow, I love that. There's never a 1 to 1 = 2, guys, but she says there are ways to work towards that balance. Now, okay, take us back a little. How did your journey get you into yoga? How did you find yourself into fitness and how did you get into this world?
That's a huge and beautiful question. So, how much time do you have? Just kidding. So, that's a great question. Actually, I get asked that a lot because growing up, I was into sports and everything, competitive, I guess, to an extent. And then once I hit high school, I plateaued big time. I became a super girly, not into sports. I don't do anything regarding sports in that world. All I want to do is just chill, play with my friends, and hang out. And then time passes, and it was exactly 2016, I want to say. So going to college, you hear things like Zumba or cardio. I always run away. The only thing that kept me going was maybe Zumba because it was dance and cardio infused. I got excited about it, but then again, that went away and I got bored and I was like, okay, this is not for me. Once upon a day, I basically was living in downtown LA and under my building, there was a studio that did spin class for 30 minutes and then yoga for 30. I had no clue what yoga is. I walked by that every single day, that studio. Unfortunately, today they ceased to exist because of COVID times. So one day I decided I'm going to go and build a courage and ask them, what is yoga about? Because they have these beautiful photos of yogis on their walls and everything. So I walk in. And I ask her, I'm sorry, I have a very stupid question. First thing she says, there is no such thing. And I'm like, well, I think it is because I'm basically going to ask you, what is yoga? She gives me a beautiful explanation of what it is. And what I captured from that is you could try a spin class and take 30 minutes of yoga after that. I'm like, forget the spin class. I'm not going to get on that bike. I will join the 30-minute when they're ready because it's like one after the other. So I joined the class. And of course, the teacher says, whose first time is it? And I'm like, super shy. And I'm raising my hand all the way in the back. And she points at me and calls me out. And the whole entire evening or the 30 minutes, that felt like forever. It was all about calling me out. Kay, do this. Kay, do that. I'm like, leave me alone. Like, stop picking on me. And so the class ended and I was like, I'm glad it's over, and then I go home. I'm getting ready for, my night routine, whatever. I was sitting on the couch exactly and watching TV. And then all of a sudden I hug my knees into my chest and I feel soreness in my belly, like in my core. And I'm like, ooh, this feels good. What did I do today? Again, I do 0 workouts. And so I was like, oh, it's probably that 30-minute class. The next day, the following day, the day after, I start to crave that feeling and I feel good in my body. And I was like, ooh. And again, growing up, I've been in car accidents and I've had like neck issues. So I was like, let me give this another shot. So I go again. And then I go again. And then I start to, they introduce ClassPass. So you get to explore. So I go to so many different studios. And then back in 2016, I was hopping from studio to studio. And it all started because I had low back injury from a car accident and it disappeared. Once it disappeared, I was like, whoa, what is happening? So going from the aspect of physical practice, fixing my low back pain, come time, class passes out, you have to commit to a studio. And I'm like, oh no, commitment issues. This is not good. I don't want to book to like one studio. I want to explore. So it was funny because I walked in and I was like, so why should I book with you guys? Long story short, they sold me. They're like, well, how about you just take another class and try another branch? Because it was like all over the city. So I did, and I committed. Before committing, honestly, it was one class. She said, you can have a 45-minute class. It's going to be speaking for 30 minutes about teacher training. And mind you, what is teacher training? Like,
I know.
forget it.
I
Yeah.
don't have a clue what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, scratch that. So when do I get the class? She's like, after the talk, there's going to be a little class. So I signed up for the free part of the class. This is before me committing to the studio. I go in and I see this lovely, lovely lady that she reminded me of an actress. I can't think of her name right now. Oh my gosh, she's pretty big. But anyway, regardless. So I was already like hooked. I'm like, I like the way she's presenting herself. She talks about all the yoga books, pulls out manuals and manuals. And I'm like, shut that information out. I don't care. I just want to practice because this is my last free class, you know? So at the very end, she says things like, hey, you can join the teacher training and you don't have to teach. And I was like, oh, my ears started perking. And I was like, so what do I do? She's like, you're deepening your practice. So I didn't know what that meant until I got into it. And the reason I got into it, not only did I find relief physically, I felt different. Something happened. A shift happened.
Wow.
And considering my day job, consulting is a lot of stress that I carry throughout my day. I was very committed. It was about, I want to say 5 weeks, weekends only for 6+ hours, 6 to 5 or 6 to 7. You get a break, of course. We have to eat. And then you actually do practice, like practice teach with each other and stuff like that. We
Mhm.
were a small number. We were 7. It was amazing. Had a blast. Would not change a thing. We cried. We laughed. We did a lot of things
Yeah.
together. And I had to somehow make that commitment, which meant not seeing friends, really studying. We had exams we had to pass. We
Wow.
had to get certified, 200-hour certification and so forth. So that happened. And then, right before COVID, around COVID time. So it was, I want to say 2018, COVID kind of creeps up towards the end of 2019 or something like that. It feels like it was yesterday, but it's been 5
Mm.
years. And then that's the time where we're all like graduated. And so in early 2019 to go teach. And I had an opportunity. I was moving to London and we were talking to the studio and everything. And then the world shuts down. So we were pushed into online stuff, which I'm sure we're going to touch on later. But honestly, to go back, short answer, it was my low back pain, me not interested in anything, not knowing what yoga is, the feeling that I felt on a physical level. And
Wow.
then, that just, the rest is just history, like deepening your practice, understanding what you're studying, what is yoga, and so on. I'll
To be
take you to
honest with
that.
you, that make me want to go and Google where is the next yoga around my area because I'm not. Okay, what is yoga? So let's say you're talking to me and the audience here right now that they're in
Hmm.
the same situation and they're like, what is this yoga thing everybody's talking about? Can you help us?
Yes, great question. So yoga is the connection of your mind, body, and soul. Um, when we speak yoga, everyone thinks physical practice, which is when you get into shapes and you're just standing there in a warrior one or warrior two, and everyone goes like, "Oh, this is so boring. It's so slow." And that's the point. The point of it, one, it's called a practice because it's not perfect. You continue to practice to get stronger, more flexible. You calm your mind using your breath to connect to your soul. So it's weaving or linking your breath to movement. And as soon as you're like miserable or you're like breaking a sweat, noticing your breath and you're probably holding your breath. Your breath is nutrition for your body. It's fuel for your body. So when you think of it that way, you lengthen, you deepen your breath, and then you create that space because our body is full of energy wheels. In yoga, we call them nadis. And when they get stuck, we get different sorts of feelings. For example, pain. If we
Wow.
don't address it, it becomes worse. It may turn into illnesses, may turn into diseases. It's all energy. And if you have blocked energies or channels, maybe you've heard of chakras. We only focus on the,
The seven.
top 7. There's more than that. There's
Oh, there's
72,000
more than
energy
7.
channels.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'm
Yeah.
so focused on the 7 chakras.
Yes, exactly. And then like when one is blocked, let's say the crown chakra is blocked, you can't just go like, oh, I gotta, wear this color, smell this, essential oil. You need to go back down to the bottom, work on the root, go up all the colors and address all the issues to reach this, to connect with this. And of course, the crown is the highest power. And this whole, like, it's a whole nother world. And this is also part of the yoga practice. So it's physical, emotional, it's got so many layers. And for like a person that's new to yoga, we just focus on the physical, layer one, the physical body, using your breath to get into the shapes, because as soon as you connect to that link or link the breath to movement, you're able to hold onto the shape longer, which is what we do in the four walls. We practice these shapes to help us notice, acknowledge, and not react when we go outside of the room into the real world. Because as soon as something happens, we're just ready to attack or ready to bite. And then we're like, oh no, I shouldn't have done that. So that's what I've noticed. Like in my world, I've been taking my skills from yoga and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to react because this person has had a bad day and they're just not giving me what I want. So how do I get to them? Let me look around their office. Oh, let me talk about their kids. They have a picture of their kids. And honestly, it's helped me progress so much in my corporate job. Had I not gotten into yoga, I don't know. I'm positive actually that things would be different. So
Wow.
yeah, in short, it's you connecting back to your body, recharging, refueling using your own body, mind, and breath. Sorry, that was a very long answer, but it's a
No,
very
but
spicy
that is
question.
amazing. And that is exactly what we need to hear because, like I said, just like myself, I know a lot of people are asking you, are thinking, what is this? And from what you're explaining, is really something that is really needed to really clean. Because I focus on the seven and we do all the whole chakra playing high vibration music. But now you have nailed it by saying that we have to not focus only on the crown or the throat. We have to go to the root chakra and wow. I've never
Yeah.
heard about it that way, but that makes absolute sense. So you do that alongside consulting.
hmm
How do you manage that?
That's a great question. So I was in consulting before yoga for sure. And I've been in many different types of roles. At the end of the day, it's consulting, but I went from external auditing to internal auditing in the accounting world to keep it simple. And all we did was, I still do it. So all we do, or back then it was really tough. You work so many hours, morning to night. You're stressed out. You have no sleep. You come back, you show up, you have tons and tons of coffee. You have tons of food. They fuel you with the wrong things, I'm sorry to say, because in yoga, we say you should fuel your body with things like whole foods, for example, that have prana. Prana is energy, energy is life. So, apple versus coffee. Coffee has no prana. Chuck that. Matcha's better. It keeps your, levels going this way versus going here and then spiking the other way
Yeah.
around. So, when I did hit rock bottom in my corporate world, whether it was internal, external, it was just too much. And I was going through life, relationships with people, family, everything was just going not so great for me then. And then when I
Mhm.
stumbled upon yoga through the physical, because my low back hurt, I started thinking about how can I incorporate this relief in my body, this
Wow.
relief in my mind, this relief in my breath, like breathing. I used to be the one, the teacher would be like, okay, we're doing pranayama, breath work now. I'm out. Shavasana, I'm out. I'm like rolling my mat, I'm leaving. I was that person because I'm like, okay, physical practice done, let's go. But there was one day when we were doing Shavasana, I felt like your first Shavasana will never be repeated. It was in that same class, the 30 spin, 30 yoga.
Wow.
I felt like I was like floating. I felt so calm. I felt so great. I felt I had no weight on my shoulder compared to when I walked in. I was heavy. I was like, what is this yoga? I don't like it, but I'm going to do it anyway so I can say I did it. And I felt so good. And I slept like a baby. And then
Wow.
as I deepened my practice, I noticed there are so many benefits. So then I actually searched, how do I stay in my corporate job? Because I do enjoy meeting people and talking to people in different industries. And it gives me a lot of variety and keeps it interesting. And yoga gives you that power to be okay at the end of the day. Like I've
Wow.
had a client tell me, or when we were on a Zoom call, let's say, how are you, Kay? I'm like, I'm amazing. She's like, how are you always amazing? I'm like, well, if I don't say it out loud and say that I'm amazing, I won't feel amazing. So I feel fantastic. So she started doing that, like the littlest things. And these are like very little things that we do and incorporate, which is using your skills and what you got from yoga practice. And again, yoga is not physical. Yoga has 8 limbs depending on the school that you follow. Breathwork is one, breathing. So I'll put it another way. When you're upset, when you're happy, when you're just thinking, you're doing something with your breath. You're either sobbing, you're not breathing. They say breathe when you're going through a thing or upset, you're probably not breathing. So as soon as you're like inhaling and exhaling the air out, you not only release the air, but you release that tension that you're building because you're not breathing. Same as the physical practice. So funny enough, I do obviously get stressed. We're all human. I have deadlines. It's, crazy times happen throughout the year. And I'm like, oh my God, I am sinking right now so hard. So then I stop. I actually put in time in my calendar to reflect. Okay, let's look at my list. What's happening? I am not saving lives right now, but companies are waiting for my response. So how do I address this? How do I get my piece? Because if I don't pour into my cup, how can I pour into others?
Wow.
Whether it's, work related or yoga. Yeah. So I just honestly, like, I did see I was on LinkedIn one day and this person introduced herself as, corporate and then using yogi skills mindset. And she was teaching that. And I was just blown away. So then I just happened to kind of incorporate that day to day. And this is how it has become today. Like
It's
everything
amazing.
boils down to your
Yes.
mind, your breath, your movement. Time to
You
go to
know
class,
what?
Dr.
Because
Doreen.
the way you're talking it, I can definitely see the connection between how yoga has really helped you in your consulting world. It has kind of helped you to ground yourself well enough where you can succeed in your
Hmm.
consulting role. You mentioned that you face challenges and build resilience through practice,
Hmm.
right? Can you expatiate on that and how you build resilience through practice?
Yes. So we mentioned a little earlier when, let's say, you're in a pose. It's a simple pose of just standing and then bending the knee or whatever it is. And you're probably miserable or struggling to hold that shape. One, your mind is wandering. Two, you're holding your breath. Three, you're breaking a sweat and not feeling great. So once the shift happens and you understand your connection of your mind, body, breath, you're able to hold that shape longer and be okay with it. I remember a specific example speaking in yoga terms and then applying it to not yoga world. So I was in a class, I was in London with my wonderful yoga teacher. Love all my teachers, of course. Love being a student, always. We're always learning and growing. So one of the classes was about a concept in yoga where, all right, get into this shape. You're not allowed to move a muscle, period. Like not even fix your hair, not even blink your eyes, nothing. Even if your form is messed up, you're not allowed to move for anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds, depending on the teacher's
Wow.
instructions. So I was in Warrior 2, and I was like, oh my God, my hair is like bothering me. It's like itching my forehead. I hate this. Why is she making us do this? And you're just talking and talking and talking. And then she's saying basically what you were kind of saying to yourself in your head. She's like, I know you're like probably calling me names and stuff. And then she was like, how about you do this? Just breathe in and out. And I did that. And honestly, I always go back to that moment. This was during COVID, 2019. I took a deep breath in, deep breath out, and I was able to hold that shape. What that does is one, links you to your body, calms your mind, calms your breath, allows you to hold it. So let's apply this to the real world. When you're in a situation where you feel like, oh, you're about to react or, just whatever happens, you're like, oh my God, like I want to do XYZ or say something wrong. You build that strength, whether it's physical, whether it's just, communication, whatever it may be. This is how it applies in the real world. You just like stop. And this is so strong of you to just like be like thinking through things on the spot and then realizing, it's not worth it, picking your battle. So that's how I feel like at the end of the day, a person misunderstands me at work because they're having a bad day, a coworker, so internal, let's say. And then I'm like, well, they're probably having a bad day, so I'm going to give them benefit of the doubt. And then lo and behold, time passes, they come to me, they're like, sorry, I was having a bad day and I feel like, I was a little standoffish or whatever. A lot of times this happens versus me making 2100 excuses for them and getting upset. Oh my God, they don't like me. They are da da da. No need of that. So that's where you build, and it only gets better and you only get better. It never gets easy ever. It's always different. You're rolling with the punches of life. Life happens, whether it's a yoga pose. And I just subbed a class today and I was like, I know you guys are all advanced yogis, but I'm going to hold down dog for longer. And I talked through cue points. I'm like, I know you hate me right now, but when you listen to it's sometimes really nice to go back to the foundation. What am I doing in my body to keep you present and then doing it for longer, and then you're actually breaking a sweat more than just flowing and running through the shapes and doing all the advanced things. And we always have a good laugh about it because it's a simple pose.
Wow.
One day you show up, you're perfectly in the pose, a simple
Yeah.
pose. One day your body's just not having it, and it's not because you're not doing it right. It's your body's just not wanting it. Listen to your body. So listening to
Um,
your body, listening to your mind. Do I really need that extra scoop of ice cream? Probably not.
um,
Do I feel like sweets? Like what is wrong? And then again, rethinking, remapping, mastering your mind
wow.
over matter. So it's such a huge world, like, but it applies to everything in a very similar manner.
I love that. You are dropping a lot of nuggets here. You just that
I can't
we
help it. I love it too
I
much.
mean, I am writing them down. You say you cannot really pour in others' cup if you don't pour into yourself. And
Yes.
I like the fact that you go deeper by saying or talking about we have to rethink those decisions. We have to remap, meaning we have to stop, re-strategize, ask ourselves those questions. Do we need this? And those self-talks and rewiring what we are thinking. And I like the fact that you use the story with your instructor. And believe it or not, now you're using the same thing that your
Hmm.
instructor used on you while you were in London and you're using
Yes.
it right now for your students. So that is amazing. So I want to find out how do you like how does this relate when it comes to corporate leadership, right?
Hmm.
How does this all come into place when it comes to business success and leadership?
One of my favorite questions. So, throughout all these years, again, I was more in consulting and then I got into the yoga world to combine these because I love them both. So, I had to find that balance. I work full time and I was teaching a lot. It was to the point I had 13 classes and maybe two privates, 13
Wow.
classes throughout the week, and I work a regular job during the day. One, burnout. Two, I was taking the stress from work, which is a good thing. And when I step into the studio, teacher hat comes on, having the best time. And every single time the class ends, whether it's 8:30 p.m., 9 p.m., whatever time, I'm like, this is why I do it. It's super rewarding. But life hits you and it's like you're human. I mean, we're all superhuman in our own way, but
Mhm.
you can't do too much and you got to listen to your body. So that's what I was not doing. And then over time, I tested it out. So I was like, let me reduce classes. Let me take less privates. Let me not do privates. Let me take a break. And I've done it all where I took time off of teaching. I lessened my classes. I lessened my privates. My day job, I shifted where I'm like, okay, I'm working Monday through Thursday. That's, still full time, but I adjust my hours so I can have Friday for me. I don't teach over the weekends anymore. And I think, actually, I know, I'm so proud to say, I finally found the balance the last few
Mhm.
years where I'm like still doing my day job and then teaching my classes. And I listen to my body. If I'm not feeling okay, whether physical, mental, or emotional, I need to stop. I need to tell myself, no, you need help. Like somebody needs to cover for you or so on. Because I was that girl with my day job. An email comes out, a blast email. Oh, somebody needs to cover this and that. I always said yes to all of them, in addition to my classes that are on the schedule.
Wow.
So it was a little too much. And I didn't realize, but I was coping with a personal situation by being busy and busier. I don't think about things. And that's also part of the practice, acknowledging what's going on. And nobody was telling me anything because, of course, they were like, let her go through her thing. But apparently, I was lashing out in different ways. And then once I
Right.
noticed, I'm like, oh, because the universe listens to you. So it was like, you're not listening. And then a big thing happens in my life. And then another big thing and another big thing. And I'm like, okay, you know what? What is going on? So all of this again with the practice of yoga has helped me really find the balance. And I feel like it's second nature now. Like when I'm stressed, I'm like, I'm sorry, I need to take time off, or can we regroup tomorrow? Can we discuss this later? Can I get help? It's really hard for some of us to say, I need help. Like I'm overwhelmed with work or deadlines, but learning how to let go, learning how to trust people, learning how to grow your team. And, as you level up in the company you're working for or the firm, you have to do that. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable. So I feel like very light now, like just in another example, like in shoulder stand, your legs up are in the air and half of you is on the mat. The
Mm.
lighter you feel, the more correct your form is. So I
Mm.
feel like I found that balance of lightness. I look forward to my day job. I look forward to the calls. I look forward to meeting a client and so forth. And I absolutely look forward to teaching. And once I'm away from it for a little bit, I'm like, with teaching, obviously there's commuting. If you live in LA, I mean, actually, even in Maryland, like the driving is crazy.
LA is a nightmare. We had to leave. I was there summertime with my family, and we had to leave from Orange County to somewhere. Forgot. It took us 2 hours in traffic.
Very normal. Very normal. If you don't plan it right, you're done. So you will spend the whole day in the car. And that was one of the stresses pre-yoga school. I was driving 2 hours one way every single day to get to a client and come back. And then when I infused the weekend, my weekend was yoga teacher training. I had no time for me. But that's how like overwhelming it gets and we forget and you're coping with something. But today I'm proud to say like I found that balance. I lessened this time in, corporate world, and then I lessened this time because you need time for yourself. And yoga is all
Mm.
about the self, not in a selfish way, understanding what that means. If my best example is on the plane, that video back in the day, well, back in the day, the person would stand and hold that
Mhm.
oxygen mask. And what did they
Yes.
say? Help yourself first before you help others, because you can't help others if you can't have yourself be okay. So that concept, at a young age, like I just was like, ooh, that makes sense. So I always even tell my mom, if you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of others? You are going to be useless if you're not okay. So again, it applies to everything. So that's like the biggest thing.
Wow, you are dropping it, girl. You are dropping it because what you are saying, and I will ask you to just go a little bit deeper. The universe is speaking, and we are not listening. And when
Hmm.
it's speaking and we are not listening, things become harder and harder. Sometimes it's because they're trying to really draw our attention. And we keep asking for more. Oh, I'll take the shift. Oh, sign me up because you're running away from facing the truth. And what yoga will do is that it will bring you right back to self. You bring it right back to yourself, like not in a selfish way, like you said.
Hmm.
And now you said something that it's okay to say, I need help. I can't do this no more. I'm overwhelmed. Ask for help. Let it go. I want you to just expatiate on that aspect of when things are not going right. Because
Hmm.
I know yoga has a lot of positivity in it. And I'm totally new to this, right? But we can be stubborn to ourselves. We can be
Yeah.
stubborn to our future self. And the universe is like, no, you keep like, I'm doing this. Can you just speak to that a little bit and how
Yeah.
that played in your life?
Yeah, funny. It brings me to a story actually from corporate world. So I was like, I got newly promoted. I was so excited, I'm little manager back then, and I was like, okay, I have to, get with my team. We got to do all these things, and we were traveling then. This is pre-COVID times. So traveling again, stress and everything. I would do some yoga on the plane, if we were like flying or in the car. As soon as I get to my place, I do a couple. It does not have to be a full practice. It can be a
Mhm.
little one or two shapes, three shapes, breathing and all that. So one day I was I was with my team in Tennessee, I believe. And basically it was me and I think two others. And I hit a wall because I was not only there in person to meet with my client and do my work, I was also managing my teams that were back in LA that were working on other jobs. So things kind of weren't going in the right direction. I I'm not an octopus. I felt like an octopus, I couldn't fix everything. And usually I'm always like either staying late, working hard, doing my best, never saying a word, because at the end of the day I said I can do this in my sleep. It's easier for me to do it than say, person, can you help me? Can we divide and conquer? Because one little mistake will delay the deliverable, for example, because in corporate world it's always about deadlines, deliverables, etc., quality. So
Yes.
I was in the hotel room and something blew up on another job that wasn't where I was at. And then I think it was in my mind, it blew up, but it was a simple fix it. I knew there was a fix it, but I just started crying and like I could not stop
Mhm.
crying. And then I was like, I can't take this. I was like on verge of burnout, I want to say, or deep in
Yeah.
burnout. So
Mhm.
my client was walking distance from the hotel and I was just like, I'll just come later. And I just couldn't go in. And I messaged, my teammate. I was like, hey, do what you need to do. You don't need me. And I had to go through like a sobbing, crying meltdown session. And then I
Oh.
was like, why am I doing this? Like, do I like what I do? And I had to reassess everything. And so again, it all piled up and everything. And then I realized as you grow, your responsibilities grow. You cannot latch onto whatever you used to do and take it with you and move forward, because that's not growth. You are not letting go. And that is one of the concepts of yoga, is detachment. To put it in
Um,
a corporate world, like, okay, maybe you like doing the stuff that you can do with your eyes closed, but you need to let go so they can grow and then you can grow into your role. So that
no.
transition was really difficult. And then trusting people. How do I trust that you're going to do it right? Because this is going to go to person A or person B. So a lot of those times things would come up, but I think that break point was the time where I was like, this is not healthy. I'm not happy. I am somewhere like I'm not home. I'm not feeling good. I can't even go to the client because I'm not feeling well. I actually took like off days to just regroup with myself. I went to yoga, I did some yoga, felt amazing. But that feeling we need to learn also to take into our day. It's not the 60 minutes that you practice. It's taking that energy because you released a ton of stuff on the mat. You're leaving it behind you and leaving to make it more realistic. It doesn't have to be something deep. It could be just, you know what? I just want to go into practice and feel a little bit of opening in my body physically, or I just want to say I did yoga today. And those little things add up. And that's the
Wow.
beauty of it. Like when you appreciate little things, they grow, grow, grow abundance, and then you feel better. So that's one of the major stories that I always go back to, even for my mentees, for example, when
Yes.
I'm in a mentor role. I'm like, hey, like I didn't just like fall into this role. Like I went through a lot. I hit a wall.
Mhm.
And then they all actually, until like today, until tomorrow, they come to me, they're like, how do you teach yoga and do this and do that? I'm like, well, first of all, passion. Second of all, when that shift and connection happens, it's not something I look for. It's just there.
This
And
is it.
I'll add a little twist to this. One day last year, I was like, I want to do something special for myself and not do anything related to work. Like, you have goals, you have deadlines, or yoga, I have to go teach classes. I specifically said, because I remember the exact moment we were on a hike, I said, I want to use my yoga skills and do a triathlon. It's swimming, biking, and running. All of these are technically meditation. So I was like, I hate all of them. I have no love for any of them. I have no background. And a year later, I already completed 2 triathlons. I had the best time. I'm obsessed with the sport. And it messes with your mind a lot. And I always find myself meditating. The day of my
Wow.
first race, I was hearing the ocean sound. I live in the city. There is no ocean. But that's how deep it got, like meditation. It was the best part of my race. The swim part is the scary part because it's in the ocean. And like this is just showing you that it goes beyond just corporate.
Mm.
Falling to triathlon because I said I want to do a triathlon. Everyone looked at me, they're like, "You triathlon?" Because all I do is yoga. And then look at me now. So
Wow.
it's just amazing. And that's again back to yoga. I messaged
Yes.
and emailed my yoga teacher, the same one that was in London that gave a workshop. She's actually in LA. I was like telling her about my experience and how meditation really helped me push through. I knew nothing. I knew no one in the sport. And I actually like placed second place. So that was
Wow,
amazing.
congratulations. That is
Yeah, that was really
amazing.
fun. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm sure all the viewers, they're going to leave this show. Maybe go to your website, which you'll give it to us very
Yes.
soon. They will figure out because I can tell from your story, I can feel the energy. I can
Hmm.
feel the transformation. As you're talking, I can feel and sense the growth. I can feel the process. Like you're saying it, you're very authentic in the approach. Feel like you're just saying it, but I'm sure the audience will agree with me. They can
Hmm.
actually feel the transformation, the unmasking, the pain, the journey that you've gone through to a place where of acceptance and of
Yes.
growth. And you said something that as you're growing, you have to let go.
Yes.
Because if you're holding on something heavier than this, my water bottle, it's just going
Hmm.
to be pulling you back and you're not able to go ahead of it. And we can see it the way you're talking is glowing in the transformation and the way you're explaining it. Now, let's talk about pre and post COVID in your
Hmm.
work as a yoga. How did that affect you and how are you doing now comparing pre and post COVID?
Okay. So applying it to everything or specifically to yoga?
You can do everything because you explained very well. So we want to get everything out of UK before
Oh
you
boy,
leave this.
I love it. Okay. All right. So, pre-COVID for the yoga stuff, I was getting schooled into yoga, and as normal as any person going through teacher training, I was like, meh, I'm not going to teach. I'll probably like practice for a year and then get into teaching. But something in me like clicked and I was like, actually, how am I going to learn if I don't make myself uncomfortable? Like, I need to put myself out there. I might not be the best. I'm new, but that's how I learn. Like, I'll make mistakes. That's fine. So I was in LA. And again, it was right around the COVID time when I was ready to move forward. And I was going through a transition in my life. I was moving countries, and that's where the London thing happened. And then I was in talks with a studio, but then COVID is official. It shuts down. So everything, all opportunities were gone. I was between countries again. And then that's when everybody started going online. Okay, so I was just getting nervous to start my yoga journey as a teacher in person. And now you want me to go online? I felt a little awkward. And I'm like, how am I supposed to like do any adjustments and stuff? But the opportunities were being thrown at me. It was crazy. It was fun. I was joining workshops. I was joining other teachers, them teaching, they're the pros. So I was like, if they can do it, I can do it. So what I did was I was like, hello, family. Everybody's, stuck in a different country. I'm going to, put a class together, 45 minutes. Let's get online and do it. And I was in my little apartment in London. I was so squished. And we practiced and I got their feedback and honest, feedback, not just because, you're my sister or your mom or whoever you are, like a friend. And then I took it to heart. I'm like, maybe I can do this. So then I continued. I was actually studying my master's in yoga and meditation in London. I was already surrounded by the right people. It was just so amazing. And then COVID was happening, so everybody's masked up. Oh, on top of that, when trying to go back to yoga, you're wearing a mask and you're suffocating in your mask and teaching yoga and doing online. So I was doing a hybrid. So this is when I came back to LA and we're doing like there are people that join online because they don't want to come in person, and then you have your in-person people. You have to wear the mask because you don't want to catch COVID.
Oh,
So
wow.
in regards to online, I was then in a different country and they were putting this online platform. It was very new, creating apps like that because they're trying to keep people active. Depending on the country you're in, it's strict or open or whatever. I was in a very, very strict country. So we did online. It was live. It was really cool because I could see the person and I had family members and friends join me. And it was my built program, which was really cool. So I had to have like slow days, vinyasa days, which is you're flowing out throughout the practice, and then holding shapes, instructing them, teaching them, and looking at them and being able to communicate. And I think that was kind of my online breakthrough where I was like, I can do this. It's not difficult. It's just practice. Again,
Yeah.
it's a practice, even when teaching. So, and then I would actually like make it fun and have a little bit of homework, yoga style, so that I could see like what they learn and stuff like that. So that was really fun. I did that 3 times. So it was like a program depending on the number of weeks. We met like 3 times online. And then for those that couldn't, there's a recording that they could have, which is again nice to keep them up to speed.
Right.
Because of my experience on the other side, which was being a student and going online and learning from my teachers, I think that gave me confidence. And then knowing the teacher I was learning or taking class with, and the other opportunities that came my way, today's world was like corporate. They still have the hybrid where you're maybe not in the office. So
Yep.
they still want to practice. And it's like a quick 40-minute online and you just jump on. And now I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. Like it's fun. And I was able to adjust, and one's in the gym, one's at home, one's like in the kitchen, And so that was really fun. Adjusting, adapting, also part of the yoga practice.
Yeah.
Like you're thrown in a situation and you have to just either you're going to sink, we don't want that, or you're going to stay afloat because you are adapting. Nothing is permanent, everything changes. Similarly,
Amazing.
the job. I took my clients with me and contracted the entire time. I also worked for another company, and then I realized they're trying to mimic the model that I had with this company because they were doing good and, we had the relationship, but then they're starting up and it wasn't working well, working in different time zones and everything. Everyone was online and I had
Wow.
to figure out the timing. So that was stressful for a little bit until I found
Yeah.
my flow. So you
Mhm.
find your flow on the mat, you find your flow in real life. And once you find that flow, it's like, okay, yeah, I can take this call. Like not saying yes again, finding that balance, not saying yes for a 2 a.m. call, just to be like, here's the status, here are my bullets, I am done, good night, like I'm gonna like sleep on the call. So finding what makes sense, knowing
Yes.
when to say no, knowing when to say yes, and then coming back was hard again for corporate because it's like, but I built my office at home, now I'm comfortable. Because in the past, like, I mean, I'm generation, every day go to work. Now when you talk to people, it's like, what do you mean I have to come to work 5 days a week? What? No, I'll do 2. What? Like we went in, I mean, we just talked about the 2-hour commute each way
Yes.
every
Every day.
yeah, that was crazy. Like even sometimes we had to stay late, so we stayed in a hotel. That is like very not understood these days. So but
No.
as COVID happened, it's like, well, I made it work. Can we come to a middle ground? But I'm
Yes.
still with that mindset of if you want me in, I'll come in.
Come in.
So it helped kind of balance and imbalance me because I was like, oh, you need a sub, I'll cover your class because I can come run and teach a class and then come back and work and continue because it's at home. I'm not with a client or anything. Well, when you're at a client, you can't really do that. But again, you can't do a 9 to 5 job. Oh, you can, but you'll burn out eventually. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. We're good. So I'm finding that balance again. So
Yes.
pre-COVID, work was work. It was tough. It was stressful. And yoga was all in person. There was nothing called online. It's very little that you hear that there's, online yoga, or you don't prefer it because you can't get adjusted in person, like on-hand adjustments. And then post, like the whole journey, like not only expands your mindset, expands your practice and your skills as a teacher, as a student, It's just so beautiful to see how human can adapt. It's just in the mind. So mind over
Yes.
matter. Just work with your
Yep.
brain,
It's
using
real.
your breath, using your body, using your mind, all connected together. We will never ever stop our mind from thinking, period. Like you need to get that straight. That's step one. You can calm it down. Even not thinking is thinking. Like that statement
Wow.
was in my like grad school and I can't get over it. Wait, what do you mean? They're like, you're thinking right now that you can't think, but that thought is a thought. I'm like, okay, stop, I can't. So yeah, just
Wow.
being open
Write
to
that down.
digest this information. It's like a lot.
It is a lot. I'm telling you, we have absorbed way, like, I feel like I have to keep going. Like, the information that you are pouring out here is what this audience definitely would need. So, what do you offer for the masses? Do you have like an online program right now? If somebody is in the area and they want to work with you, how can they get a hold of you to benefit from all of this? It's a lot. It's a lot.
I know it's not enough time, and we're already like past almost a time. So I
Yes.
have a website that I will share with you. I do in-person trainings. I do private trainings. I do online. I'm getting ready to put an online program together. I will also share that. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions. If we have a question like, so how do I start? Or what is yoga? Can we talk again? Like, I am more than willing and happy to share because that's something that has really changed my life, transformed it on a deep, deep, deep level.
It
And
has.
if it
It's
impacted me, it will impact everyone. And I'm all about sharing. So Instagram is the fastest way. My information I will share with you, and my website is the best way to reach me.
amazing. So your name is on the screen. Is that how they'll find you on both Instagram?
So I go by Kay, but my Instagram handle is Flow with K, FLOWITHKAY. Not two
Flow with
W's because
Kay.
there's another K that teaches yoga in Miami. So LA is the right one. It's one W, Flow with
Okay.
K. Yeah.
Flow with Kay. All right. So run to her Instagram page right away and connect with her so you can benefit. You can see the transition, right? And especially all of us that are here, we are in corporate America and we are trying to balance the stress the level. We need to meet the KPIs, the performance, the numbers, the quality. We have all of that going on to balance that anxiety. I think this is where Kay comes in. So I really encourage you to go to her Instagram page. It's Flow with Kay, right?
Hmm.
Please go there because I will do that right after this show. Okay. Just
Thank
because of time, I felt like I have to keep going on, but I have another show right after this. No, this is Friday. Thank you, Lord. See, I love to say no to my team.
you.
I love no, so it's Friday, so that's a good break for us. This was so amazing. We really enjoyed having you. I personally learned a lot. To end our show, we always ask for some life lessons that would take us to positive outcomes as we close.
I would say piece of advice is to start small. It could be one little movement before bedtime or one little breath, an extra minute of breathing, an extra 10 seconds. Start small, build up, feel the benefits, and you'll just incorporate this on your day-to-day basis. So don't overwhelm yourself with all that you just heard. Again, start small. There's this term called conching, which I really like. That's from one of the Netflix shows. They Chris Hemsworth learn how to drum because he's conching in the world of arts. So making it into small pieces, eventually you'll have your big picture and you'll get through.
Oh,
Instead of
wow.
thinking, I'm going to run a marathon. No, let's just run for a minute and then walk for a minute, kind of like that. So start small and reap the benefits of yoga. And it's super accessible.
Thank you so much. She has poured so many nuggets, and we just start small. I know that is, I don't know, she's talking to me here. To start small. And there's something that she said that I just want to remind us. She said, even when you're not thinking, you are thinking. Pay attention to your thoughts. Thank you so much for coming and blessing us tremendously. Please, everyone, share, 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 and share so everyone you know can benefit from Kay and can also reach out to her on Instagram. Okay. Thank you guys so much. And thank you again, Kay, for coming to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. It was really, really fun.
Yes, it was. Bye, guys. And you all have a good weekend.
Thanks for listening to Positive Outcomes. Follow the show and share this episode to inspire someone's next chapter.